There is a reason Caitlin Clark has a Nike deal bigger than any WNBA player in history, a Wilson signature line not seen since Michael Jordan, and now a $50 million Gatorade deal with a flavor that broke the internet. None of that happened by accident. There is an equally clear reason why Angel Reese's shoes are in the bargain bin. Reebok has gone completely silent on marketing them, and major sponsors are reportedly having second thoughts. Trust me, Reese's reaction to all of this is exactly what you would expect, and it's hilarious. Are you Team Caitlin or Team Reese? Let me know in the comments below. Gatorade has been in the athlete partnership business for decades. Michael Jordan drank it. LeBron James drank it. Serena Williams drank it. Across all those years and all those deals, not a single product launch ever crashed their website. Then Caitlin Clark dropped Rainberry, and Gatorade servers couldn't keep up. Now let's talk about what this deal actually looks like. The partnership is reportedly around $50 million, putting it among the largest endorsement packages ever given to a female athlete in any sport, not just basketball. That number alone is a story. But the structure of the deal is what really matters. Gatorade didn't just slap Clark's name on an existing product. They revived a flavor Caitlin loved growing up, added a unique twist, and made it her own. Her own flavor. That's a completely different level of commitment. Here's what the Rainberry launch actually looked like. The bottles were built directly around Clark's personal brand identity. The color, the name, the packaging, all of it centered on her. Rainberry wasn't a generic product with a sticker slapped on it. It was a cultural moment the second it went live, and the response was instant. Within minutes, Gatorade's website was overwhelmed. Fans posted screenshots of error pages. The product was gone before most people even had a chance to load the page. Now think about what Gatorade actually risked here. They already have a stacked roster of athletes. They didn't need to do this. They had options. But they looked at everyone and decided Clark was the one who deserved a signature flavor. Not a co-branded campaign, not a limited colorway, not just a logo on a bottle. A flavor is permanent. It sits on shelves nationwide. It gets reordered based on sales. It either has legs or it doesn't. Rainberry sold out so fast that question was answered on day one, and here's what that sellout really tells you. Gatorade doesn't just watch social media. They track retail velocity across thousands of stores. When a product moves that fast, the data says something very specific. The demand is coming from outside the core fan base. People who don't watch the WNBA and people who never bought a Clark jersey or followed her online were grabbing that bottle at checkout. That's crossover appeal in its purest form. None of this came out of nowhere. Clark's first season with the Indiana Fever gave brands a real-world case study in what she does for visibility. Games sold out. Merchandise flew. TV ratings jumped. Gatorade watched all of it. They tracked the data. And when they were confident, they made their move, $50 million, with a signature flavor attached. The website crash is the moment everyone is talking about. And honestly, it deserves the hype. But it's actually the smallest part of what this deal represents. A $50 million partnership isn't built around a single launch day. IT gets structured around where a brand believes an athlete's commercial ceiling will be over the next several years. And the ceiling Gatorade is betting on for Caitlin Clark is nowhere near where people had her pegged just 2 years ago. When a product launch crashes a major corporation's website in 2026, that is a market verdict. Gatorade bet its signature flavor line on Clark, and consumers responded before the servers could even process the demand. But the Gatorade deal, as massive as it is really just the latest chapter in a commercial story that has been rewriting the rules for female athletes since Clark first stepped into the league. There is exactly one name in Wilson sporting goods history that had a signature line before Caitlin Clark. One, and you already know who it is, Michael Jordan. That's the list. Jordan, and now Clark. Let that sit for a second. Let's lay out the full picture of what Clark's endorsement portfolio actually looks like right now. She has a Nike deal, the largest endorsement contract in WNBA history. She has a State Farm deal, and she is the first female athlete State Farm has ever signed in the brand's entire history. She has the Wilson signature line, and now she has a $50 million Gatorade deal with her own flavor. Any single one of those deals would be a headline on its own. All four landing within roughly a 2-year window creates something that has no comparison in the history of women's sports. The Wilson deal deserves its own moment, because people glossed over it when it was announced. Wilson does not hand out signature lines. That's not how they operate. They are one of the most established sporting goods companies in the world, and they are extremely selective about which athletes get their name permanently attached to a product line. The last time they did it before Clark was Michael Jordan. Not a recent star. Not someone from the last decade. Michael Jordan, the athlete whose commercial legacy redefined what it means to be a sports brand. Clark is now in that category, not because people are comparing her to Jordan, but because Wilson made the same decision for her. And this is where people need to understand what a signature line actually means. It is not a limited run. It is not a seasonal campaign. Wilson is manufacturing, distributing, and marketing products under Clark's name on an ongoing basis. That is a permanent line item in their business. Brands do not do that unless they believe in the long-term commercial power of the athlete attached to it. The State Farm deal carries the same weight when you look at it closely. State Farm has been in sports marketing for a very long time. They have worked with male athletes across football, baseball, and basketball. They had never brought in a female athlete, not once, until Clark. That was not a random decision. State Farm has decades of consumer data showing which partnerships move the needle. They looked at all of that and decided Clark's audience was worth reaching. That is a massive call from a brand that does not make massive calls lightly. Then there's Nike. The deal is reportedly $28 million over 8 years, the largest footwear endorsement any WNBA player has ever received. But the bigger detail is what's coming next. Clark's first signature shoe is expected to drop in 2026. Nike has built entire brand empires on signature shoes. The Jordan brand, which started as a single shoe line, still generates over $1 billion annually. Clark's shoe hasn't even launched yet, and analysts are already projecting sellouts within minutes. Nike, State Farm, Wilson, Gatorade. These aren't small companies chasing a viral moment. These are 4 of the biggest commercial names in American culture, and every single one of them made a long-term commitment to Clark within the same short window. When brands this large move this fast in the same direction, they are not reacting to hype, they are positioning for the next decade. Clark is not just a basketball player with good sponsorship management. She is a commercial infrastructure. Forbes noticed. And when Forbes puts a number on your influence, the sports world pays attention. Forbes doesn't rank athletes based on noise. They measure sponsorship value, audience reach, economic impact, and real-world conversion power. So when Forbes named Caitlin Clark the most powerful female athlete on the planet, that wasn't a compliment, it was a data-driven conclusion. The full ranking placed Clark 4th among the most powerful women in sports overall. The 3 names above her, Gail Benson, Amy Howe, and Amy Montaigne, are all executives. They run organizations. Among active athletes, Clark stands alone at the top. And the numbers back it up. Her off-court earnings in her rookie season alone were $11.1 million, a figure no first-year WNBA player had ever come close to. Forbes measures sponsorship value, but they also track engagement quality, meaning how much fans actually act when brands partner with an athlete. They look at cross-industry reach, meaning whether an athlete pulls in audiences from outside their core sport. And they measure league-wide economic impact, meaning whether that athlete lifts the entire ecosystem around them. Clark checks every single one of those boxes, and the receipts are public record. Now here's the part that really got people talking. Angel Reese, who spent nearly 2 years making it clear she saw herself as Clark's commercial equal, if not her rival, was nowhere on the Forbes list. Not lower on the list. Not in a secondary category. Not even an honorable mention. Just absent. And look, Ree has visibility. She gets media coverage. She has a Reebok deal. She has social media numbers most athletes would kill for. But visibility and value are 2 very different things, and Forbes measures value. the pattern in Reese's public positioning over the past 2 years tells a clear story. She repeatedly announced brand partnerships right after Clark's announcements. Her social media commentary kept circling back to Clark. When Clark crossed over into LPGA work, Reese suddenly posted about playing golf, a moment that felt less like a genuine hobby and more like a territorial reaction. Once is coincidence. A consistent pattern over 2 years is strategy, and it's one that clearly didn't move the commercial needle enough to register on Forbes' radar. Then Sportico added another layer. They named Clark the highest paid player in the entire WNBA. Keep in mind, Clark is still on a rookie-scale contract. Her on-court salary isn't what pushed her to the top. Her off-court earnings alone are so massive that they lifted her above every other player in the league, regardless of contract size. That's an extraordinary market signal. Sponsors are paying Clark at a level that makes her base salary almost irrelevant. Forbes and Sportico are just numbers. They don't require spin. But side by side, they show that the gap between Clark's commercial trajectory and Reese's isn't just wide, it's growing. The market has been saying this quietly for months through retail data, brand decisions, and audience metrics. Forbes and Sportico just made it impossible to ignore. Being named the most powerful female athlete in the world, while also topping the WNBA earnings list isn't a moment. It's a market assessment. And the fact that her loudest rival didn't appear on either list isn't coincidence, it's data. Because while Clark was collecting rankings, something very different was happening to the Reebok shoe that was supposed to be Angel Reese's big commercial moment. The signature shoe is supposed to be a statement. It's when a brand plants its flag and says, "This athlete is our bet." Reese's Reebok signature shoe has been on shelves for months. It's sitting in clearance sections, and Reebok has gone almost completely silent on marketing it. That's not strategy. That's a problem with no good spin. When Reebok signed Ree, the announcement was loud. The rollout was visible. The timing felt deliberate, landing right after Clark's Nike deal, positioned as Reebok's answer. They wanted attention, and they got it. But once the shoe hit shelves, sales told a very different story. Months in, no sellouts, no waitlists, no urgency. Instead, discount pricing started showing up, which in the footwear world is a crystal clear signal. Demand missed expectations. Retailers don't discount hot products, they discount inventory they need to move. Now compare that to Clark's Nike shoe, which hasn't even launched yet, and analysts are already projecting sellouts within minutes. Nike is building full-scale marketing infrastructure around a shoe without a release date. Reebok is marking down a shoe already sitting on shelves. The contrast explains itself. And here's where it gets more complicated for Reese. Brands don't just track sales, they track sentiment and association risk. They analyze what the public connects an athlete to, and whether that helps or hurts brand image. Multiple reports suggest major sponsors have cooled on Ree, largely due to the ongoing perception of antagonism toward Clark. The behavior fueling that perception has been consistent. Repeated social media commentary, circling back to Clark. Brand announcements that felt reactive. Public statements that generated controversy without building goodwill. Brands see all of this. They employ teams whose entire job is to monitor exactly these patterns. And what they've seen with Reese has clearly raised concerns. Reebok's marketing pullback is the loudest signal. When a brand signs an athlete to a signature shoe deal and then stops promoting it, that's not scheduling. That's internal reassessment, and it's never good news for the athlete. The shoe is discounted. The marketing dried up. Neither happens to a partnership that's thriving. So the real question isn't whether Reese's commercial momentum has stalled. It has. The question is whether the behavior driving it will change. Because if it doesn't, the gap between her trajectory and Clark's will only keep widening. The market doesn't care about narratives. It trades in what sells, what converts, and what image brands want attached to their name. Clark's name crashes websites. Her shoe hasn't dropped yet, and it's already generating more hype than Reese's ever did. And Reese's reaction to all of this, the Gatorade deal, the Forbes ranking, the Nike build-up, the Sportico numbers, has been exactly what you'd expect from someone watching another athlete build an empire, while their own commercial moment quietly fades. What's happening with Clark isn't about any single deal. It's what happens when elite on-court talent, crossover appeal, and consistent professionalism compound over time. One analyst summed it up perfectly. If we can't sell Caitlin, we can't sell anybody. The Indiana Fever enter 2026 with the most commercially powerful player in women's sports, a Nike shoe launch ready to explode, and a roster built to compete with Lexi Hull, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Sophie Cunningham. The brands voted. Forbes voted. Sportico voted. The fans crashed a website. Are you Team Caitlin or Team Ree? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Click the video on the screen. We'll see you there.